This continues the recessed Committee of Conference on House Bill 187. And during the dark hours, there appeared two amendments, and I'd like to call on Senator Bradley to introduce your amendment, please.
Can I get another copy of that, please?
Sure.
Representative.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So as we discussed over the last couple of days, I made the suggestion that we should model 187 or whatever the upshot was of the discussion on House Bill 417. Well, 417 got non-concurred on. There was no agreement. However, what was put into HB2 is the guts basically of 417. I apologize, I didn't bring it over. I should have. But this mirrors what is now in HB2. So there's the first is section 8, the notification section. I believe that's the same language. And then section 9, it allows the legislature to terminate either a state of emergency or a particular emergency order by a majority vote of both the Senate and the House. President voting, although constitutionally, and I don't recall the specific citation in the Constitution, but there has to be a quorum, just so that that's clear. And then similarly to what was in now HB2, for the governor's power to renew an emergency order is the same. So the language is the same, and I think it will get through the process. Let's put it this way.
Without a quorum, you wouldn't have a meeting, and therefore you couldn't have a vote. So I think that that's implicit in what you said here.
Well, and it's also the Constitution requires because that question came up yesterday in HB2, and we had the governor's attorney in, our attorney, Rick Lehman, and they just cited the specific reference in the Constitution.
Yes, Representative Weber.
Thank you. I'm wondering, we have, this is the section that pertains solely to the commissioner and
That's
the
correct.
commissioner's orders. So I am wondering why we have the state of emergency language in here as well as the emergency order language.
Well,
And I wonder if that
commissioner,
isn't,
like a governor, could have multiple orders under a overall state of emergency. So that gives, the current law right now says the legislature can override an emergency, but not individual orders. So if the legislature deemed one piece of an emergency
right.
inappropriate, it under this language,
And I just need one further clarification on what came into the budget, because I was informed via WMUR last night that there was no provision about the governor's powers of the state of emergency. So what you're
well,
saying
they're
is
wrong.
this,
no,
Okay.
That has never
If-
happened before.
we adopted,
if you
Yeah.
represent to me, Senator,
yeah,
that
no, it
the
was
parallel
a,
language is still
it was a
in there,
Morse
then
Bradley Packard over amendment.
Okay,
I'm-
no,
I
that's-
apologize. I should have brought it over. But
That's fine. I'm just concerned about the issue of, without that language, are we giving the legislature the power to terminate a state of emergency? They already have that, do they not? And
That's what he said at the beginning, was
Yeah.
that
there is a provision that the legislature can override an emergency,
right,
but not, I mean, remember, I think there were some 80 orders issued.
right. There was not the partial
Line
part
item.
of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
the line item veto, as it were.
And
Okay.
my beef with DHHS that got resolved personally was with one particular item, nothing else. So I wouldn't want to do an all or nothing. I'm
Right.
sorry, Senator Gray, you had your hand up.
When I read this section, you know, since the emergency orders can be hung on a proclamation for the state of emergency. If you do take away the state of emergency, you've taken away all of the emergency orders under that. And that's the way I read this, and I had no problem with that. But the legislature doing that, so.
I'm just concerned about putting the removal of the state of emergency in this section, which deals solely with the commissioner, and whether we are putting confusion in where confusion doesn't need to happen. And I wonder if people would consider saying the legislature may terminate any emergency order issued under this, rather than the state of emergency thing.
Is your
Hold on.
HB2
Uh-oh, we just got a text from the clerk of the House saying your amendment is not germane.
What?
We just, want me to call him, get him on the phone?
Whose
I even
amendment
find that
is not
surprising.
germane to our
Of course it's
discussions?
germane because
Of
it
course
was in
it's
your
germane.
version
Yeah.
of the bill. Your clerk is wrong.
How is this-
I mean, respectfully,
How is this not germane?
it was in your version of the bill.
Of course it's germane. Get the speaker to tell the clerk that it is germane.
Yes, the committee in conference would love to speak with the clerk, please.
Sure. And who is it?
The clerk, Paul Smith.
Who is,
No, no.
who are
I'm
you?
thinking that.
You have not spent enough
Mark
time with
Pearson.
him yet.
Thank you. Hold on, please.
Yeah, could we go into recess?
Would you like to hear the clerk?
No. I
Well,
think you folks need to hear the clerk. I know what it is. It's
I'd
in
like
your
all of us
version.
to hear the clerk,
Okay, that's up
please.
to you. but-
so maybe
okay,
you can
all right.
argue your case.
I mean, if the clerk is attempting to stop this proceeding, then perhaps we should just all hear what he has to say. But it better,
Representative, would you mind taking me off speaker so I can just have a quick conversation with you?
With me, okay, just a sec, let
You
me
better
put
be
it into my
And
hearing
we're gonna
aids.
go
Okay,
and talk.
okay, this is just into my ears now.
we just.
I want to reread this section of law as well, too, to make sure that we're, which is what I'm doing, just that we're corrected what the authority of the DHHS Commissioner actually is.
Are we back?
Yes.
Okay, Representative Weber.
The suggestion that we're making that will, we hope, resolve our clerk's issue, which was the same thing that I was speaking about earlier about the state of emergency being broader than what the commissioner can issue, is simply removing the words "a state of emergency" or, so that it reads, the legislature may terminate any emergency order issued under this chapter by a majority vote. I concede that it's all issued under this chapter, but if we take those words out, it eliminates the concern that we are talking about the governor as well as the commissioner.
To make a difference whether it's any or and.
I put in any because I thought that made it, but I'm not going to fuss about the inclusion or exclusion of the line.
I like the word "and" instead of "any."
Okay,
Because,
so we just strike out the words "a state of emergency"
or,
or.
Mhm.
Yep.
That acceptable?
and I believe the Senate concurs.
House concurs. So that's under consideration. Are we okay, Mr. Clerk? So I guess what I do is somebody move Senate Amendment 203.
Well, could we just go down through one more time?
We
to be
could.
sure that we're all. So we're replacing 8 and 9. We are eliminating 10. Or I guess maybe we just state that we're acceding to the receding from the House position, acceding to the Senate position with the following amendment.
Mhm, 'cause 10 is not in the
But the
Senate.
final version has to not have the language of 10 in it, however OLS decides to phrase that. And then we have already agreed to the Senate position on page 9 on the composition of the Health and Human Services Oversight Committee. Is that,
You mean the additional member?
yes,
Or members, House
It's
members,
But
one
the
Senate
House, we-
members.
We agreed with your 5.
right.
Right,
Right.
and we agree with
And we
your
agree with your
3.
3, so.
That's it.
So that's what we're looking at, is to accede to the Senate position on this with the amendment 2033, which is items 8 and 9.
So I make a motion to accept amendment 2033S
Second,
With,
with, I'm
With
sorry,
the
with the
amendment.
committee, with the committee change, dropping the words "a state of emergency" or from line 9.
We don't actually need a formal motion.
Or you don't?
As long as, there's 2 committees here,
mhm,
okay? Our committee is in agreement with changes as stated. Yes.
and
we are
Senate.
agreed.
we are
And
agreed.
once more, for the folks at home, we accede to the Senate version with the changes in 2033 amendment, with the removal on line 9 of the words "a state of emergency" or. That is what we're all agreeing to. Yes, good, we're done. Thank you.
Good to me.
Great.
Wow,
Thank you.
Thank you
look
all.
at that.
Next room.